Namaste. I am Vishali, a full-time pracharika at Arsha Vidya Samajam. Before we begin our talk, I would like to thank Sangam Talks for giving us this opportunity to speak on their channel. Today, we will be talking about the crisis that Sanatana Dharma is facing with a focus on unchecked religious conversions and how Arsha Vidya Samajam has been working to tackle it for the last 22 years. We also have with us Shruti ji and Anagha ji, both full-time pracharikas at Arsha Vidya Samajam, who will be detailing their individual experiences of how they were strategically led by the conversion forces into converting into Islam and how they were able to return to Sanatana Dharma through ideological counseling at Arsha Vidya Samajam. Arsha Vidya Samajam is an educational institution established in the year 1999 by Acharya Shri K.R. Manojji on the instruction, Ashirvada and Anugraha of his Guru and Guru Paramparas. Currently based in Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala, its mission is to fulfill the Panchakartavyas of Sanatana Dharma, which is Adhyayana, systematic study, Anusthana, practice, Pracharana, promotion, Adhyapana, teaching, and Samrakshana, protection. In a state like Kerala, which has emerged as the hotbed of religious conversions, we have two approaches in overcoming this external threat to Dharma. One is the long-term mission, which is to solve the root cause of the problem, which aims to bring in an education revolution by eradicating Hindu society's general ignorance about Sanatana Dharma and other religions, our culture, our history, and about our brave freedom fighters and martyrs who laid their lives down fighting to protect Dharma. Second is the rescue measure through which we bring back those who have converted or are on the verge of conversion or who have inclined to such ideologies back to Sanatana Dharma through ideological counseling. Through the latter approach, in the past 22 years, we have been able to bring back more than 5,000 Hindus, especially youth, both women and men, back to Sanatana Dharma, of which more than 25 of them are our dedicated full-timers today who work fully on service basis. 4 of them wrote books describing their experiences of how they were manipulated into converting into Semitic religions and how they were able to return to Sanatana Dharma. These books, which are in Malayalam, with 2 of them translated into English, are perhaps the first books on comparative religion to be written after Chattambi Swami's Kristu Madachchedanam and the first of its kind to be written by Hindu women who had converted and later returned to Sanatana Dharma. The highlight of these books is that they beautifully elucidate the strategies employed by the conversion forces, the threats of conversion, the mental state of those who are going through it, and how to resist and overcome them. Our approach is teaching Sanatana Dharma, comparative religion, Bharatiya Samskriti, Yoga Vidya, etc. through a systematic syllabus meticulously prepared by Acharya Ji based on the knowledge passed on to him through his Guru Paramparas, which is Shri Shankara Gurudev of the Atreya Parampara, Shri Nikhileswarananda Paramahamsa of the Himalayan Siddhashrama Parampara, and the Kriya Yoga Parampara of Mahavatar Babaji, Lahari Mahashay, Shri Yukteswar Giri Maharaj, and Paramahamsa Yogananda Ji, and his learnings under various spiritual gurus, and his own intuition, experience, and research. The courses offered are Adhyatmika Shastram, which imparts Sanatana Dharma and comparative study on various religions and ideologies, Arsha Yoga Vidya, which is real yoga in the Shodasha Tattva format as prescribed and taught by Adinath, who is the manifestation of Parameshwara on earth to the divine rishis at Kailash and passed down over generations of Guru Paramparas. Bharatiya Samskriti, which offers authentic and undiluted delivery of India's long history, culture, heritage, invasions right from the time of Cyrus, and India's political, social and cultural histories. Students Excellence Program for excelling in academics and also provides training in classical dance, classical music, martial arts, theatre, etc. We have chosen a highly debated topic for discussion today, which is religious conversions. The first thing that comes to our mind when we talk about religious conversions in India is Love Jihad. We consider that the term Love Jihad itself is a misnomer and it would be more appropriate to term it Love Trap Jihad. Love, pretension of love, marriage, offer of marriage, sexual exploitation, blackmailing. Through these, taking young women and men step by step to Islam, later transforming them into extremists and fundamentalists, and employing some of them for extremist and terrorist activities. All these activities are taking place in the name and disguise of love. This is common in Islamic countries as rape or abduction jihad and can be seen from the time of Islamic invasions and attacks in almost all countries. Its modern and moderate face is Love Jihad, which was masterminded to be executed in democratic countries like Britain, America and India. Because love is a natural human feeling. Especially in India, people attach extreme emotions and sentiments to love, marriage, family, husband-wife relationships. Western countries are more liberal. If a girl in a Western country is asked to convert for marriage, she would rather end the relationship. But Indian society has an emotional attitude towards husband or lover. Hence, they take advantage of this and convert women, and later utilize them for religious conversion and propagation. Then push some of them into fundamentalism, extremism and terrorism. They could either end up as sex slaves or directly involved in extremist activities. You must be familiar with these two cases of love jihad through impersonation that took place in North India, where the Muslim boy pretended to be Hindu. Mohammad Tawfiq from Kannauj married Priya Verma by hiding his religion, pretending to be Rahul Verma, and forced the girl to convert in 2020. National shooter Tara Sahdev was cheated by Rakibul Hassan, who pretended to be Ranjit Kohli. This happened in Ranchi in 2014 and the case was handed over to the CBI in 2015. Whereas in southern parts of India, owing to its pseudo-secular attitude, several strategies are employed and it follows a pattern. Muslim boy loves a Hindu girl. There is no discussion whatsoever about religion or religion change. The boy shows his so-called progressive attitude. The girl is emotionally hooked to the boy. Later, when the question of marriage arises, the boy says that the girl has to convert so that his family accepts her fully. He emphasizes that the conversion is a mere formality for the purpose of marriage. Once the girl has reluctantly or willingly agreed, she is taken to a formal conversion center where she is made to learn Islam and accept a Muslim identity. And even if she does not convert, children born to them are raised as Muslims. Another argument is that it is merely a relationship between a man and a woman. If that is the case, in Kerala, shouldn't their percentages be more or less similar if not equal? But what we get to see is a really high percentage of Hindu women getting married to Muslim men. Second, if it is indeed merely a relationship between a man and a woman, then they should be the only two parties involved. But what we get to see today is that organizations with all their financial strength, manpower, political influence and human rights organizations get involved. This whole process is called Love Trap Jihad. The immediate consequence of this is population increase in Islam, the gradual ideological shift of the girl's mind, and the definite Islamization of the succeeding generations with children being raised as Muslims. On the other hand, intellectual jihad is more extreme and dangerous. In the case of intellectual jihad, the conversion forces utilize the spiritual void that most Hindus have due to lack of systematic dharmic education from a young age. They are asked questions in order to create confusion in their minds about Hindu Dharma, made to feel that their beliefs are wrong or inferior, and inject them with the belief systems of Islam. They are given books, pamphlets, videos and articles by Muslim scholars and preachers. Friends, classmates, co-workers play a key role in such targeted conversions which are achieved through brainwashing and indoctrination. Once the person is inclined towards Islam, planned steps are taken to create a sense of separatism from their families, culture, society, dharma and nation, and gradually make them leave home to officially convert and to live as a Muslim and promote Islam. Jihad as per principle is mandatory for a Muslim as is daily namaz, zakat, Ramzan fasting and Hajj. Jihad is not just mandatory, but it is seen as a practice that attracts more reward than any other, and it is believed to wash away all sins of a person. It is claimed that one who does not perform jihad is not a true Muslim, and anyone who does not perform jihad must be killed. There are several Quran and Hadith verses which declare this. Jihad is a holy word for them. Everything is permissible in the way of jihad. It is clear that jihad is war with arms and money. But these days, Muslims defend themselves by interpreting the Arabic meaning of the term jihad. In Arabic, jihad means struggle or effort. By this meaning, all struggle and effort must be called jihad. For example, one who makes an effort to study, one who meditates, one who makes an effort to take care of his family, one who fights to protect his nation. Can this be called jihad? then why are they seeking defense under the word meaning of this term? Jihad in reality means to bring more people to Islam, that is Deen, then create a Muslim majority society, eventually create an Islamic country as per the Shariat law, and then establish an Islamic world, that is to convert Darul Harb into Darul Islam. They claim that the Kerala High Court negated the existence of Love Jihad, but it is far from reality. In 2009, the Justice K.T. Shankaran judgment clearly states that a couple of questions were asked to the police chief. The first question was that whether there is a movement called Romeo Jihad or Love Jihad working in the state of Kerala. Second, if so, what are their plans and projects? The answer is there is no such movement called Love Jihad or Romeo Jihad because they don't attach such a name to their activities. Hence, the answer to the first question is no. But various reports from the police, SPs, crime branch officials, special branch officials were submitted in the court, and many of these reports have exposed the seriousness of the situation. It is reported to have been functioning in colleges and has named certain organizations involved in it. And to this date, there has been no court judgment that negates Justice K.T. Shankaran report. Hence, they have been misleading us constantly. Second is the Justice Shashidharan Nambiar report. It is the case of Shahanshah. It is the case which was closed because the petitioner and accused settled it out of court. This was misinterpreted and presented as non-existence of Love Jihad. One are the many missing cases in police stations. Even today, thousands of girls are missing and haven't been able to be traced. Similarly, the helpless cries of parents in courtrooms. Arsha Vidya Samajam's various experiences. We get at least 10 to 20 calls every day from parents asking us to somehow save their children. All this was observed by the National Commission for Women itself. The former Chief Minister Achyutanandan had openly stated that there are activities that are attempting to convert Kerala into a Muslim majority state. Ex-DGPs such as Dr. T.P. Senkumar and retired RAW Chief Hormis Tarakan had revealed this. Loknath Behra had revealed that there are activities carried out in the name of Dawa Squad. This has been stated by DGPs of neighbouring states as well and also by the NIA. The National Women's Commission also declared this fact. Many media have reported this. What more proof do we need? In a small state like Kerala, within a span of few years, there have been more than 40 suspicious deaths where it is not confirmed whether it is suicide or murder. There have been open killings of several women. There have been several cases of people who joined terrorist groups after having converted. There have been people who were killed in encounters in Kashmir and Gujarat. There have been cases of people joining the IS. Despite all this, they are using propaganda to disprove Love Jihad. In order to retain vote bank power, politicians and media are ready to appease them in any way. They choose to close their eyes before the pain and sufferings of parents. Despite so much evidence, the Kerala government or State Women's Commission have not yet opened their eyes. It is in this backdrop that Arsha Vidya Samajam boldly takes on religious conversions that are achieved through manipulation and brainwashing by systematic injection of a dangerous ideology that gradually make a person turn against his family, culture, society, dharma and nation itself. And for this very reason, the jihadi forces have been trying all tactics to hinder our functioning. Anyone who abandons Islam is called a murtad or apostate. And Islam clearly declares punishment by death for murtads and that any means can be employed to kill them. So how can they tolerate an institution like Arsha Vidya Samajam which has brought back to Sanatana Dharma more than 5,000 such murtads?
Namaste. My name is Shruti. 8 years back, I got converted to Islam and accepted the name Rahma. I born and brought up in a Brahmin family. I said the name Brahmin because just to make you all understand that conversion will happen to so-called high caste people also. Since childhood, even though I'm brought up in a Brahmin family, I had familiar with a lot of rituals, ceremonies, etc. But I hadn't aware about the scientific things behind it. I was totally ignorant. I brought up just by hearing we are Brahmins, not as we are Hindus. So my knowledge regarding Hinduism was little. Since my childhood, I had a lot of questions, lot of doubts, but I was not knowing with whom I should clarify all these doubts, to whom I should ask all these questions and doubts. My parents had very poor knowledge regarding all our dharmic values and all. They made me watch television serials, namely Om Namah Shivaya, Jai Hanuman, which all were telecasted during those times in Doordarshan. I was knowing about Hinduism only through these television serials. Even watching those serials itself, I had a lot of doubts. That increased my doubts. That increased questions in my mind. But as I earlier told, I hadn't an opportunity to clarify all those questions and doubts. Those questions, everything kept in my mind unanswered. Time went. I focused on my studies as everyone do, and during my graduation, my life's turning point starts. I was doing bachelor's degree. During my second year, my classmates, majority were Muslim girls, and those girls were very strict Islamic believers and followers, and they frequently were asking questions regarding our dharma or my religion. Unfortunately, I couldn't answer them properly. I was feeling embarrassed in front of them. I was feeling ashamed because I'm not able to answer their questions. At very first, I tried to avoid them, but questions were frequently haunting me. The same questions I had in my childhood again coming to my mind through my friends. I tried to learn about Hinduism through internet. Unfortunately, there were different sites, different interpretations, different textbooks. I couldn't identify which is authentic, which explanation is authentic, which saying is authentic. So this increased my confusion. So I couldn't go ahead. I stopped searching. I tried to learn about Christianity also to find which is right belief. But when I took Bible to read, even the very first chapter itself made me confused, and so I couldn't move ahead in that also. So I stopped it. But regarding Islam, my friends and when I was teaching, my colleagues and my students were giving me pamphlets, series of speeches, Islamic speeches, and different textbooks regarding Islam. I was getting such textbooks and Islamic speeches, everything. My friends were very clever. They already understood what is my nature, what is my concepts, everything regarding God, women, what is my viewpoint, everything. So in such a way, they were interpreting Islam to me. They were forcing me indirectly to read about Islam, which were convincing my thoughts, which were similar to my thoughts, my viewpoints. Like I went in deep in Islam and I studied, I took the oath, the Shahadat Kalima, and after that I began to practice Islam. I was doing namaz, I was taking rosa, I was giving zakat, everything. Later on I was feeling that Allah is the ultimate God and Muhammad is the last prophet, and I should be a modest Islamic woman, and I should be a role model to everyone, every new Islamic believer, and I should be a very perfect Muslim woman. So that purpose, I wish to go out from my home where my father and mother, my brothers, my relatives, everyone are kafirs. I was hating to eat the food prepared by my mother, who were taking care of me very lovingly. She was knowing each and every likes and dislikes of mine, and she was with very love and care. She was preparing food and she was caring me everything. I neglected, I beaten her, I tried to avoid her, I criticized my father, and I was arguing towards my father. All these things I did just for Islam, because they are not Muslim, they are not ready to accept Islam, they are not ready to learn about Islam. They are kafirs. I can't show a little love towards them because I am Muslim and they are kafirs. All the textbooks and all the speeches I was listening, everything molded my brain in such a way. I used to spit in temple courtyards and all. These are things I did during my Islamic beliefs and when I was practicing Islam and all. After that, fed up with all these kafirs attachments, I wanted to go out from my home and accept Islam legally. So that my Muslim colleagues and friends, everyone helped me, and I went to Ponnani in Malappuram district. It is also called as Mini Mecca in Kerala. There Maunatul Islam Sabha, the institution's name, and there I joined for further Islamic studies and to become a real Muslim woman. From there I got the idea that India is not our mother country. India is country of kafirs, and we are supposed, we means the believers in Muslim, the real Muslim believers are supposed to live in such a country where Prophet Muhammad, other prophets were born and brought up and preached Islam, where Islam, the religion of peace, in such a way they are interpreting, and no peace at all we are finding till now. And in such countries we have to live. So I also wished, after completing Islamic studies there, I wanted to go some other countries for Islamic studies and Islamic preaching. This is what my intention was. I wish to take my parents also to Islam, and unfortunately what happened, my parents put complaint in police station in my native place. Police tracing my cell phone's IMA number, they could trace me out. I am in Palani, and with the help of police, my parents came there and took me from there, and they took me to police station and later to court. In court, it was my mother's pathetic condition and my father's condition made me think that for 2 days I will go with my parents. That was another turning point in my life. And those 2 days were experimental days. My parents took me to an astrologer. He advised my parents that the Islamic radical group applied black magic on me. So they took me to a native healer. From there, what happened? That healer gave me a glass of milk, putting ghee on it, and told me to climb up a hill. And I climbed it, and from there he gave me neem juice. Drinking that, I began to vomit. This incident increased the hate towards Hinduism and Hindus in me. I took the oath that I won't accept Hinduism again. I will try my level best to suppress this Hindus and Hinduism in this earth itself. That much jihadism influenced my brain. And after that, my parents, with the help of some Hindu organizations, took me to Vishwa Hindu Parishad office in Ernakulam. From there, 2 people advised me. One among them advised my parents to take me to a place at the Tripunitura. There a yoga center is working. There is a yogacharya, his name is Shri K.R. Manoj. So I was listening a lot about yogacharya Shri K.R. Manoj, like about his activities, about his knowledge, about his works and everything. Then that moment I decided I will begin my Islamic preaching by converting this Yogacharya himself. And that is how I reached to Arsha Vidya Samajam. So I had such overconfidence that I can convert Yogacharya Manoji himself, and after that I will convert one by one my parents, my family members and everyone. So with that overconfidence, I went near to him. He called my name, earlier name, Shruti, but with a rebel nature, I told him, I'm not Shruti, don't call me like that, I don't like. I am Rahmat now, I would like to be called like that only. And I would like to speak with you just based on Quran only. I don't want to listen about your Veda, your Bhagavad Gita and all. That is all not my textbook. I have only one religious textbook, authentic textbook, that is Quran. So I would like to speak about Quran only. To my surprise, Acharya ji put different Quran publications in front of me. I wondered what is going to happen. He asked me to read verse by verse from those Qurans, and I did the same. Also he added, you should read all those verses not as a Muslim, not as a Hindu. Use your reasoning power and logic power and come to the conclusion which is right and which is wrong. After reading, with the help of your reasoning and your intellect, you are coming to the conclusion that this is the ultimate truth, this is the right religion. If you are able to convince me, I and my disciples will accept Islam as you accept it. That is what he said that time. This made me think, opened my eyes a little. The patience he showed towards me when I showed the arrogance towards him. In front of that patience, I had to surrender. I also showed patience to listen him. That 2.5 hour discussion opened my eyes, my inner eyes. All the doubts, all the questions, everything I had since childhood, I asked to him. He answered one by one. All those answers were like clearing doubts one by one. That is how I could come back to Hinduism. The moment I realized that Islam is the wrongest ideology and all people in Islamic religion are good, but this is the ideology which makes them cruel, makes them terrorists. The moment when I realized that Sanatana Dharma is the ultimate truth and the same truth I had to follow, I have to preach to everyone. I took the decision that how I decided to preach and spread Islam. Similarly, or more than that, I will preach Sanatana Dharma. I will learn about Sanatana Dharma. I will practice Sanatana Dharma. And I will bring back those who are blindly going behind these wrong ideologies. And I took the decision. I asked my Acharya Shri Manoj, that pardon me, and I asked for forgiveness, and I asked him to consider me as his disciple and let me be with you for my lifelong time as part of this institution. I would like to join your mission of spreading Sanatana Dharma and bringing back those who were blindly went to wrong ideologies. So since 8 years, I am full-time volunteer in Arsha Vidya Samajam and also teacher. Now I am very proud that I could, with the help of Acharya ji and the courses provided here and with other colleagues and my teachers, I could bring back lots of sisters who went to Islamic or any other wrong ideologies just like me. I thank Sangam Talks and all my viewers for listening me, for watching me, and I request all of you to support Arsha Vidya Samajam ahead. Thank you again.
Namaste. I am Anagha. I too was born into a very ritualistic and religiously conservative Brahmin family. From a very young age, I was also exposed to a lot of rituals that honestly did not make any sense to me. Just because it was passed on over generations, we are also doing it without knowing its meaning. I thought the world was going forward very rapidly and we are stuck here. I also remember that there was a little bit of casteism practiced by my family. We used to only visit temples with Brahmin priests. So I just brought up this point to reinforce that caste and casteism has to be thrown out from the Hindu society as it is pegging us back. It is a social evil and it is one of the biggest reasons for disunity. We need ideological unity, not immature caste-based identity. The first instance I started noticing Islam was during my 12th standard in government school. I noticed that during Fridays at lunch interval, Muslim students were given an extra time for prayer, like 1 hour for their namaz. This consideration was not given to Hindus or Christians. I still wonder what this kind of bias even from a government school. I was very ill-informed, a kind of misunderstanding that there has to be something special about Islam. Also, I found overall Hindu friends were much more ignorant and unclear about Hindu Dharma, whereas Muslim friends appeared much more confident as they were educated from madrasas since childhood itself. Now, because I am much more educated on different religion and ideologies, I know the explanation given by these Muslim friends about their religion are completely stupid. I have completed my physiotherapy course from Ernakulam. During college days, a lot of my roommates were Muslims, and in conversations, naturally or otherwise, they used to ask questions about Hindu rituals, Hindu concepts, questions based on Puranas, etc. Because a lot of all the negative things we hear about Hinduism is from Puranas. There are a lot of Bhakti serials on TV channels which is based on Puranas. We have to understand that Puranas are not the authentic text of Hindu Dharma. It has lot of fictional elements and it is completely distorted. The authentic scriptures of Sanatana Dharma are Vedas, Upanishads, etc. But this was a serious problem as they could easily leave us without answers because Puranas has highly illogical things which they can easily attack us and decrease our confidence. So I was confused and I started to study about Hinduism from other online sources. And then the videos I watched about Vedas, Upanishads, etc. had high concepts like Atma, Paramatma, Brahma and all those things, which was beyond my grasp, and as they did not seem to have any direct association with day-to-day life. And on the other side, my Muslim friends were boasting of all things about Quran, that it is 1400 years old and it is perfect. Whereas with respect to Hindu scriptures, I was seeing multiple interpretations. Muslim friends also boasted that Quran is very scientific and the world has started to realize the scientific facts put forward by Quran thousands of years ago. Now I know much better about Quran with much more clarity. I know their claims are absolute nonsense because Quran has so many contradictory verses and it is unscientific in lot of areas. They also used to say that in Islam there is only one God, that is Allah, and why do you have so many gods and everything? But now I know Parameshwara is the one God who can take up different powers and can manifest in any forms. My friends used to share me videos of Zakir Naik, M.M. Akbar, videos of converted Muslims, Nauman Ali Khan, etc. to slowly brainwash me to Islam. And while I was reading Quran, honestly, I used to find a lot of apparently stupid things and cruel punishments by Allah who they claimed to be very merciful and all. But when I used to question this, my friends used to say that Allah is our creator, you should be showing gratitude towards Allah, and if you don't show gratitude, Allah will punish you. And also to avoid questions on Quran, they used to say that you cannot have doubts on Quran. You should not think too much because it is Iblis or Shaitan that is misguiding you. This is how they used to put me in mental prison. So I couldn't even ask too many questions that I had about Islam and Quran. Almost every Muslim in this regard acts like a missionary. They're actually trying to sell their idea of Islam to others, and they actively try to convert you. Now, in this background, I was totally confused about Hinduism and constantly brainwashed and fed with Islamic ideology. I thought probably Islam is better, and I decided to convert. And the other thing is the heaven-hell duality, because I didn't want to risk falling into the tragedy of the hell, because it is described in such a fearful manner, and it is another reason that mentally forced me to go to Islam. My friends also introduced the concept of burqa and hijab, and they said that women should be completely covered and they need to be shown themselves only in front of their husbands. So I also started to slightly change my attire, and I started wearing full sleeves, etc. And I started observing namas whenever possible, and I started to study how to do namas. So I had made up my mind that after completing the college, I am going to convert. While I was working in Kozhikode, a place where people have more extreme Islamic mentality, a lot of my patients were Muslims, and to some of my close patients, I revealed my idea of conversion. They seemed very enthusiastic and encouraging, and they said that they are even ready to help me financially, and they will give all kinds of supports for my conversion. They also suggested that I should move away from my parents because they are non-believers. They will force me back to Hinduism. My friend also asked me to talk to Arsha Sajna. Arsha Sajna is a Hindu converted to Islam and second wife of M.M. Akbar. M.M. Akbar is like Saki Naik of Kerala. He's an Islamic preacher who is actively involved in converting people. So Arsha Sajna asked me to convert first and then to tell parents. This is clearly a cheating. There is a saying in Islam that heaven is beneath your mother's feet, which is completely rubbish, because this applies only to Islamic parents, not for Mushrik parents. There are multiple verses in Quran that are completely against our parents because they are non-believers. There is an example of Muhammad itself. He did not pray for his parents because they were not Muslims. And right in front of this Islamist in Kerala, there are countless parents who are converting right in front of their eyes, either due to intellectual or love jihad. Do not fall for these defensive arguments which are completely wrong. Quran has clearly offensive verses. Also, there are so many verses that showing hatred for these believers. In this Islamic ideology, it seems Allah burns you in eternal hell if you don't believe in Islam. So what can be more hateful than this? So when the first corona lockdown was over, I was back home and my parents and sisters had to watch in horror as I had completely changed in my behavior and in attire. And I even told them that I'm definitely going to convert to Islam and it's a matter of time. And in the process, I even almost converted my little sister. She was completely into dance and there was a slight argument as she has to give up that. I had given up dancing, music and all forms of art. At home, parents clearly did not have any answers to my questions. They only had tears to my questions. And they just looked at me with shock as I was so stubborn on my decision. Meanwhile, when all this was happening, a school friend noticed how much I had changed and she informed one of her friends who was probably a BJP activist, and through him they got in touch with Arsha Vidya Samajam and informed my parents and was brought to Arsha Vidya Samajam. At that time, even Arsha Vidya Samajam was presented to me in a bad light by the Muslim friends, as if it is some kind of torture center or some kind of garbhapasi center. When I leave from home, I made up my mind that I will come out of that place as a complete Muslim or as a complete Hindu. And then I met Acharya Sri K.R. Manojji, and within just 3 hours, he completely destructed the ideology of Islam that I carried for about 5 years. Because it is for the first time I am analyzing the Quran word by word very logically and freely. And he had very reasoning answers and counters to my very weak defense I was presenting from the Islamic side. and he was able to completely bring me out of my Islamic ideology. And once I was convinced, Acharya taught me Sanatana Dharma in a very structured manner, and I am still learning it. I am completely free now. I can finally wear the clothes that I want, and a huge mental pressure that I had, I am coming out of it. And a huge mental prison that I was in, I can feel myself liberated out of it. That was also refreshing and liberating experience. Finally, to wear the bindi without any sense of guilt. My parents are also completely relieved. You should study Sanatana Dharma only from Guru Paramparas under a guidance of Guru like Acharya teaches. Apart from knowing Sanatana Dharma, you should also know other ideologies, because otherwise you are just a Hindu because you are born into it. You should clearly know Islam and other ideologies and understand why Sanatana Dharma has a world view. And you have to know that Islam is not an ethnicity, it's not a race, it is an ideology. And we have the right to criticize any ideology. So compare and criticize. That's what I want to say to the followers of Hinduism. Those who are confused and those who want to be more aware of the situation, and at the end of it ask questions. Never be shy to ask questions. Always keep asking questions. You should find all the answers for the questions from the right sources. I mean the right people from the right text. It's clearly a battle that we have to fight for and to win. And I hope everybody are with us. Thank you.
Movies and mass media are cleverly portraying and promoting love jihad. In movies where the storyline is based on interfaith marriage, if the male protagonist is Muslim, the story very explicitly shows how the girl gets to adopting Islamic dressing, ways and practices. The movie takes a pro-Islamic angle. They romanticize Islam and its practices while showing Hindu rituals and practices in poor light. The songs are picturized and lyricized to praise Islam and with Islamic undertones. They degrade Hindu deities and mock Hindu customs ruthlessly while Islam is shown as peaceful and beautiful. The story usually ends with the girl accepting Islam or leaving her Hindu culture and family. But the reverse cases are very rare. That is, movies where the boy is Hindu and girl is Muslim are very rare. Movies should also start portraying Hindus having much more pride and knowledge in Sanatana Dharma and spirituality than contrary. For the last 22 years, we are functioning out of constrained rented houses with enormous rent, no security, and no assurance of where the next meal would come from, and also the fear of being asked to vacate the house at any time. We are also facing death threats from extremist organizations. Arsha Vidya Samajam is functioning under the pathetic circumstances created by jihadi news channels that have unleashed false propaganda against us to evict us anyhow and anytime. Despite these limitations, we were able to bring back more than 5,000 people. But we have just touched the tip of the iceberg. We get at least 10 to 20 calls every day from parents within Kerala and outside requesting us to somehow save their children. For ordinary medical and mental illnesses, one can be taken to a hospital or a mental health center or to a de-addiction center in case of dependencies. But in this situation, they are unaware where to approach and what is the cure for this new mental condition characterized by fundamentalism and bigotry headed towards terrorism and extremism. But we are not able to accommodate all of them due to various factors. To overcome this and to fulfill the long-term mission of Sanatana Dharma education and promotion, we envision a study and research foundation that imparts ancient Indian knowledge and modern sciences under the same roof in all major languages of India and the world, with food and accommodation for its students, teachers and visitors. This is called Vignanabharti International Study and Research Foundation, which is a joint venture between Arsha Vidya Samajam and Vignanabharti Educational and Charitable Society. We have a 38-cent land in Balaramapuram, Thiruvananthapuram. The foundation stone for this project was laid by Swami Chidanandapuri on 14 September 2020. But due to lack of funds, we were unable to start construction. We humbly request all of you to help and support Arsha Vidya Samajam and its projects.